My brothers and sisters, the day I sat across from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I knew history was shifting beneath our feet. Cameras flashed, diplomats whispered, pens scratched against polished mahogany. But for me, this was not ceremony, it was liberation. $15 billion. That figure echoed like a drumbeat. Headlines shouted it across the world. Yet understand this clearly, it was not charity. It was not a handout. It was not another cycle of loans dressed in fine words but poisoned at the core. No. This was a partnership built on strength. Oil for technology, energy for modernization, sovereignty for respect. They said I was too young to lead, too reckless to negotiate, too bold to be trusted. But in that moment, I carried the weight of generations. The farmer who watered dry soil with sweat. The miner who dug with bare hands under foreign flags. The child who studied by candlelight dreaming of electricity. I did not sign for myself. I signed for them. And as the ink dried, I felt the West tremble. They do not fear our weakness. They fear our awakening. For decades they told us Africa was too small, too divided to rise. But under those flashing cameras, they saw the truth. Burkina Faso will not beg. We will bargain. We will not kneel. We will stand. Many will ask why India and why now? Brothers and sisters, this pact is not just about barrels of oil. It is about laying a foundation for the next century. Beneath our soil lie riches the world hoped would remain locked until they could exploit them. But we are the ones turning the key. India is not offering us crumbs. India is offering steel mills, petrochemical plants, power grids, defense workshops. They are not giving us fish. They are building the nets, the boats, and the markets. For every drop of oil that flows east, streams of technology, investment, and training will flow west. This is what the West never understood. Their aid was never love. It was a leash. They loaned us billions, knowing we would repay trillions. In interest, in concessions, in stolen resources. This pact ends that cycle. We are not trading weakness for strength. We are aligning as equals. India secures energy for its growing economy, and we secure the tools to shape our own future. Burkina Faso secures modernization for its youth, and the world sees that we will no longer live in dependency. This is not just an oil contract. It is a vision of power. Power in our homes. Power in our factories. Power flowing through the dignity of a people finally standing upright. Transparency is our shield. So let us speak plainly about what this pact contains. $4 billion will go into oil extraction and refining, ensuring we are no longer just exporters of crude, but producers of value. $5 billion will build petrochemicals and energy infrastructure, pipelines, storage, processing plants, fueling not only India's needs but also our industries. $3 billion will raise steel and manufacturing plants from our soil. Factories that will employ our youth and forge the rails, machines, and buildings of tomorrow. $2 billion is devoted to defense technology, because sovereignty without security is an empty promise. And $1 billion is directed toward agriculture, telecom, and training programs, because true strength begins with fertile fields and educated minds. These are not grants. They are not loans dressed in hidden chains. They are direct investments. India is planting capital in our soil with the expectation that both sides will grow. But let us not be naive. Investment is never charity. It comes with profit, leverage, and influence. The real question is not whether India will gain, they will. The question is, will Burkina Faso gain even more? Will the seeds they plant bear fruit for us or only for them? In the markets of Ouagadougou, where women bargain over millet and men unload sacks of onions, one question echoes, will this deal change my life? A taxi driver hears the news on his radio and shakes his head. Another promise, another headline. Farmers in Kaya, welders in Ouagadougou, students in Bobo, Dioulasso. They have all heard of deals before. Too many ended in corruption, bureaucracy, and foreign bank accounts. This time must be different. If power plants truly light our homes, if factories truly employ our children, if training centers truly equip our youth, then this pact will not remain words. It will become lived reality. Thousands of jobs can be born in steel, in petrochemicals, in agriculture, in telecommunications. Engineers will rise. Welders will find steady pay. Farmers will see their harvest transformed by modern equipment. But if profits vanish overseas, if factories remain foreign-owned enclaves, if technology transfer stays only ink on paper, then this too will be another betrayal. The true battlefield is not in speeches or at summits. It is in the villages where light bulbs flicker for the first time. It is in the classrooms where young engineers learn to code. It is in the hands of ordinary Burkinab, who will decide whether this pact lives or dies. Do you feel the tremors, my brothers and sisters? From Washington to Paris, from Brussels to Beijing, they whisper in corridors of power. What is Traore doing? How dare Burkina Faso, small, landlocked, underestimated, sign a pact of this magnitude? The answer is simple: we dare because we must. China has poured billions into Africa, but on its own terms. The West has chained us with debt, sanctions, and conditional aid. They believe they alone held the keys to our future. But now India steps forward with something different: trade, technology, investment. Not military bases, not endless lectures, not aid disguised as chains. This pact is not only Burkina Faso rising. It is Africa declaring to the world, we choose our partners. We choose our destiny. And make no mistake, the old order has been rattled. For decades, the West depended on Africa's division and dependence. Now they fear that sovereignty will spread like wildfire across the continent. To them I say, yes, be afraid. Because this pact is not the end. It is only the beginning. From Ouagadougou to Bamako, from Niamey to Dakar, the message is clear: Africa is no longer a playground for foreign empires. Africa is a partner. Africa is awake. For too long, our resources were not only stolen, they were priced in the currencies of others. Oil, gas, gold, all tied to the dollar, the euro, systems built far from our soil. But this pact begins to carve a new road. We are discussing rupee-franc settlements. Imagine that: oil leaving Burkina Faso, Indian technology arriving, without passing through Western banks. Transactions beyond the reach of sanctions, beyond the manipulation of dollar flows. This is more than financial convenience. It is rebellion. It is freedom written in numbers. For decades they told us the dollar was eternal, unshakable. Yet here we stand, daring to trade without it. But let us be cautious. The CFA franc, still chained to Paris, remains a colonial shackle on our wrists. Until that tie is broken, until we build a truly sovereign currency, even bold experiments carry danger. Our economy must be strong enough to sustain this shift. Yet I would rather stumble toward freedom than walk smoothly in chains. Yes, this step carries risk. But every barrel of oil priced outside the dollar is more than trade. It is a declaration Africa is not a prisoner of the West's financial empire. And what is sovereignty without security? It is a castle without walls, a nation exposed to vultures. Burkina Faso bleeds each day from insurgency, terrorism, and deliberate plots of destabilization. For too long we begged for weapons, bought scraps at inflated prices, and relied on foreign powers to protect us, powers that only deepened our dependency. This pact changes that. $2 billion will go into defense production. Indian expertise, yes, but built here in Burkina Faso. Rifles assembled in Ouagadougou. Armored vehicles manufactured in Bobo Dioulasso. Communication systems designed by our own trained youth. This alone will not end terrorism, but it shifts the balance. It tells the world we will no longer rent our security. We will build it ourselves. Critics whisper, what if this drags Burkina Faso into India's rivalries with China or Pakistan? My answer is simple. Our allegiance is not to any bloc, it is to Burkina Faso. If a partnership strengthens our sovereignty, we embrace it. If it weakens us, we reject it. For the first time in decades, the weapons in a Burkina soldier's hands may carry a mark not stamped in Paris or Washington, but forged in Burkina Faso. That alone is a quiet revolution. Every great gamble carries two futures, one bright, one dark. Which path we walk depends not on destiny, but on discipline. The best KC factories hum, thousands of jobs are born. Oil revenues stabilize the economy. Engineers trained through Indian programs design our future industries. Electricity reaches the villages. Farmers use modern equipment. Students code software that links Africa to Asia. We rise as more than exporters. We rise as a hub, a bridge between continents. The worst case, corruption seeps in like poison. Contracts are mismanaged, funds siphoned, factories controlled by foreign bosses while our people remain only laborers. If the profits flow abroad while our people see no change, then anger will spread, protests will rise. The pact will collapse into yet another broken promise, another stone in the graveyard of African dreams. The line is thin, brothers and sisters. Too many times we have fallen into the worst case, betrayed by leaders who sold our birthright for personal gain. I refuse that fate, but my refusal alone is not enough. It will take every Burkinabe, vigilant, disciplined, demanding transparency, to turn hope into reality. This pact is not a miracle. It is a chance, and chances once lost rarely return. Do not think this pact is only about us. Africa is watching. From Ghana's ministries to Senegal's markets, from Mali's soldiers to Ivory Coast's traders, they ask, can Burkina Faso pull this off? If we succeed, we light a fire across the continent. Leaders will look to Ouagadougou and say, if they can rise, so can we. New partnerships between India and Africa will bloom. The chains of Western dependency will weaken. A new map of power will be drawn, not in Washington or Beijing, but in the capitals of Africa and Asia. But if we fail, the skeptics will laugh. They will sneer, see, Africa cannot govern itself. Give them billions and they will waste it. Trust only the old order. Our failure would not just be ours. It would be used as a weapon against all Africans who dare to dream of freedom. That is why this pact is more than national. It is continental. Our success would lift not just Burkina Faso, but Africa. Our failure would not only shame us, it would drag the whole continent down. The stakes are high because history is watching. And history does not forgive wasted chances. When I signed my name beside Narendra Modi's, I did not sign a simple contract. I signed a gamble, a generational bet, a challenge to history itself. This, a 15 billion pact, is oil, yes, but it is also factories, jobs, power plants, training programs, defense production. It is an architecture of sovereignty, a blueprint for dignity, a declaration that we are no longer beggars but partners. 5 years from now, the world will judge. Will Burkina Faso shine with factories and light, or stumble again into mismanagement and corruption? Will our youth stand tall as engineers and innovators, or remain trapped in hopelessness? I cannot promise certainty, but I promise commitment. The West will try to sabotage us. Enemies will whisper lies. Challenges will come. But this pact is a seed planted in the soil of our struggle, watered by the will of our people. Brothers and sisters, history's pen is in our hands. For too long, it was held in Paris, in Washington, in London. No more. The story of Burkina Faso will be written in Ouagadougou. The story of Africa will be written in African hands. The cameras may have captured the signature, but the fire belongs to us.